Have you ever gone to bed thinking, I'll just check one more thing before I fall asleep, and the next thing you know, it's 11:30 at night and your brain is still wide awake? Maybe you didn't think much of it at the time. Maybe it felt harmless, just flipping through a few videos, scrolling through the news, or responding to a couple of messages before turning off the light. But the next morning, you wake up groggy. You feel slow, like you're trying to move through fog. And later in the day, you forget why you walked into the kitchen, again. If that sounds familiar, don't worry, you're not alone. And more importantly, you're not broken. There's a simple reason for it, and an even simpler way to fix it. See, what we do right before bed matters a lot more than we think. Especially after the age of 60, when our brains need more intention and care to stay clear, focused, and sharp. The habit I want to talk about today seems small, but over time it quietly chips away at your memory. It disrupts your sleep, confuses your internal rhythm, and makes it harder for your brain to store the information it gathered during the day. And that habit is this: using screens or stimulating your brain too much right before bedtime. Now, before you think I'm about to tell you to throw your phone in the trash or never watch TV again, don't worry, I'm not here to take away the little joys. I'm here to help you adjust them, just a bit, so your brain can rest the way it needs to. Let's break this down. Your brain is like a library. During the day, it's constantly checking in new books, memories, names, details, things you saw or heard. And at night, it's supposed to sort those books onto the right shelves so you can recall them later. That sorting process is what helps you remember where you left your glasses or what your granddaughter told you on the phone last week. But here's the catch: if you stimulate your brain too much before bed, whether it's by reading the news, watching dramatic TV, or scrolling through your phone, you're basically dumping a bunch of extra books on the library floor right when the lights are supposed to go out. Your brain now has too much to sort through, too little time to do it, and no quiet space to process it all. The result? You don't get that deep, restorative sleep your brain needs. And when you wake up, your memory feels scrambled. It's not just forgetfulness, it's a lack of filing time. And it's not just about memory either. It's also about how calm and centered you feel. You may have noticed this yourself. When you stay up late watching the news or reading intense stories, your dreams are restless, or you wake up already feeling on edge. That's because your brain went to bed in alert mode. It didn't get the signal that the day was over and it was safe to rest. Now, here's where it gets hopeful. The solution doesn't require drastic changes. It's not about cutting everything out. It's about creating a gentle boundary, a quiet landing strip for your brain to settle down so it can do what it's naturally built to do. One simple shift is to turn off screens 30 to 60 minutes before bed. Let your mind begin to unwind. You can read something light, listen to soft music, or just sit in quiet for a few minutes. These aren't luxuries, they're nutrients for your brain. They tell your mind, it's time to rest now. And your mind responds with better sleep, clearer thinking, and stronger memory over time. I know, it might sound too simple to be powerful, but it works. The difference is subtle at first. You might wake up feeling just a little more refreshed. You might notice that name you couldn't quite recall yesterday suddenly pops into your head. And before long, those little mental slips that used to frustrate you start to fade into the background. I had a neighbor named Carol who told me she used to fall asleep with the TV on every night. She thought it helped her relax. But she was waking up every morning feeling like she hadn't slept at all. She started forgetting small things, like whether she'd taken her medication or fed the cat. So she tried something different. She made herself a cup of herbal tea, dimmed the lights, and turned the TV off an hour before bed. She'd read something light, usually a magazine or a few pages of a favorite book, and sometimes she'd just sit and breathe for a few minutes in silence. Within a week, she told me she was sleeping better. A month later, she said, I feel like I have my brain back. That's the power of small, loving adjustments. Now that we've touched on the habit that's quietly stealing your memory at night and started to understand why, let's explore how to gently rebuild a bedtime routine that nourishes your mind rather than drains it. Because memory loss isn't just about aging. It's about how we care for our minds, especially during those precious moments before sleep when your brain is asking for peace, not more input. Let's take the next step together. There are practical, comforting ways to support your brain's health each night, and you don't have to overhaul your life to do them. If you're still watching and feel that these insights are meaningful, please type number 2 in the comments to let me know you're still with me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I warmly invite you to do so, and don't forget to turn on the bell, so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos designed to uplift, inform, and inspire. Your support truly means a lot. It's what keeps us going and allows us to continue sharing thoughtful, helpful content just for you. Now, let's continue this journey together. Now that we understand how screen use or too much stimulation before bed can quietly wear down our memory, let's talk about how to gently steer your routine in a direction that restores your mind rather than overworks it. The good news is, you don't need to make dramatic changes or force yourself into strict rules. This is about small, comforting shifts, ones that feel natural and calming, not like chores. Let's begin with one of the most effective ways to support your memory, creating a consistent bedtime routine. It might sound basic, but the truth is, your brain loves rhythm. It thrives on knowing what's coming next. When you go to bed at a different time every night, or when your routine jumps from quiet one evening to stimulating the next, your brain doesn't know how to prepare for rest. It stays on high alert, just in case it's needed. But when you do the same few things each night, at roughly the same time, your brain starts to recognize the signals. The lights go down. The tea is steeped. Maybe you stretch a little or put on some calming music. These are cues. They whisper to your brain, the day is done. Let's slow down. And once your brain gets used to that rhythm, it starts winding down on its own, even before your head hits the pillow. That helps you fall asleep faster and, more importantly, fall into the kind of deep sleep where real memory repair happens. A woman I once spoke to, her name was June, had always struggled with staying asleep. She'd wake up at 2 a.m. most nights, wide awake and restless. So she decided to give this a try. She created a small ritual, turned off screens an hour before bed, lit a lavender candle, and wrote 3 simple things she was grateful for in a little notebook. At first, it felt silly, she said. But within 2 weeks, her sleep became deeper. She wasn't waking up in the middle of the night as much. And by morning, she felt more refreshed. It's like my brain finally knew what to do, she told me. Another helpful practice is to separate your day and your night with intention. What I mean is this: don't let your evening be just a faded extension of your busy day. Give it a clear beginning, a little welcome to the wind down. This can be as simple as changing into cozy clothes after dinner, dimming the lights, or playing soft background music that signals to your brain it's time to shift gears. That transition helps your nervous system calm down, and it creates space between the mental busyness of the day and the peace your brain craves at night. And here's something most people overlook: what you think about before bed matters just as much as what you do. Even if you put your phone down, if you're lying in bed worrying about tomorrow or replaying something that upset you, your brain is still stimulated. It's still sorting, analyzing, reacting. Try instead to give your mind something soothing to hold on to. This might be a pleasant memory, a calming image, or even a gentle mantra you repeat to yourself. I know a gentleman in his 70s who imagines standing on a quiet dock, looking at a still lake, every night before he sleeps. He says it's like his own personal off switch. These mental images or calming thoughts serve as anchors. They help pull your attention away from stress and gently ease you into a state of rest. Now let's touch on something that many of us don't realize has a deep impact on brain clarity: the lighting we use in the hour before bed. Bright, white lights, especially overhead ones, tell your brain it's still daytime. That's because your brain relies on light to regulate something called melatonin, the hormone that makes you feel sleepy. When the lights stay too bright, your brain holds off on releasing melatonin, which makes it harder to feel naturally tired. So try this instead: about an hour before bed, dim the lights if you can. Use soft lamps or switch to warmer toned bulbs. You'll be amazed how quickly your body starts to respond. It's like creating an indoor sunset, your very own signal that the day is winding down. And finally, if you're someone who enjoys reading before bed, which is a wonderful way to relax, be mindful of what you're reading. Thrillers, intense news stories, or emotional memoirs might be fascinating, but they also stir the brain up. They activate emotions, problem solving, even stress responses. Instead, try light stories, poetry, spiritual reflections, or nature essays. Something that doesn't demand too much thinking or pull you into emotional highs and lows. Let reading be like a soft lullaby for your brain, not an adrenaline rush. All of these little changes, done gently and with self-compassion, create a powerful environment for your mind to unwind. And when your mind rests fully, your memory strengthens. Your mood lifts. Your clarity returns. It's never too late to care for your brain in this way. You haven't missed the boat or aged out of better memory. Your brain is still responding to your choices, still eager to serve you, it just needs the right conditions. So as you move through your evening tonight, ask yourself, am I giving my mind a chance to breathe? Am I offering it rest or more stimulation? You deserve rest. Deep, healing, nourishing rest. And when your mind feels safe and supported, it returns the favor with energy, presence, and clearer memory than you thought possible. Let's keep going, we're almost there. You've come a long way already just by tuning in, listening, and opening up to the idea that small habits, especially at bedtime, can have a big impact on your memory. And now, as we wrap up, I want to gently offer you a few more insights that might bring it all together and help you feel more empowered as you wind down each night. There's one final piece to this memory puzzle that we don't often talk about: forgiveness, especially self-forgiveness. I want you to hear this clearly. Forgetting a name, misplacing your keys, or mixing up an appointment doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It means your brain is human. And being human means we get tired. We get distracted. We carry worries. And sometimes, those things crowd out the clarity we're looking for. But here's the beautiful part: your brain is not fixed in place. It's always adapting, growing, changing. Even at 70, 80, or 90 years old, your brain is still making new connections. Still learning. Still healing. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to give yourself a little grace. One of the kindest things you can do for your memory is to stop beating yourself up for every forgetful moment. Replace frustration with curiosity. Instead of thinking, why can't I remember this? Try asking, what does my brain need right now to feel safe, rested, and supported? Sometimes, that's a glass of water. Sometimes, it's a nap. And sometimes, it's simply turning off the noise and giving your mind 10 quiet minutes to breathe. And if you really want to support your memory at night, here's a secret not many people talk about: write things down before bed. It's simple. Just take a few minutes to jot down anything swirling in your mind, a task you don't want to forget, a worry you're holding onto, a thought that keeps repeating. This act of writing does something remarkable. It tells your brain, you don't have to hold onto this anymore. I've got it stored right here. It's like setting down a heavy bag before going to sleep. And when you do, your brain doesn't have to keep gripping that information. It can let go. And in that letting go, true rest begins. I've known people who keep a little notebook right next to their bed. Nothing fancy. Just a quiet space to empty out their thoughts before turning out the light. And almost every single one of them has said, I sleep better. I feel lighter. Because there's less clutter, mentally and emotionally. Now let's circle back to why this matters so much. When you sleep, truly sleep, your brain does something miraculous. It files away your memories. It clears out toxins. It repairs the parts of itself that were strained or overworked during the day. It's like your very own cleaning crew, coming in during the night to tidy up. But that crew can only do its job if the environment is right. If you go to bed overstimulated, worried, glued to a screen, or carrying a full mental load, your brain doesn't get the deep rest it needs to reset. And the result is memory that feels patchy, focus that comes and goes, and days that feel foggy instead of clear. But the solution isn't complicated. It's about returning to calm, to routine, to presence. It's about protecting your final hour of the day as if it were sacred, because in many ways, it is. That hour is when you give your mind permission to step off the stage, to stop performing, to be held gently rather than pushed harder. And when you honor that time, even in small ways, your brain responds. You think better. You remember more. You wake up feeling whole again. So, tonight, I encourage you. Dim the lights. Turn off the screens a little earlier. Pour yourself a warm drink. Put on soft music or just sit in the quiet. Write a few thoughts in a notebook if your mind feels full. And most importantly, talk to yourself with kindness. Tell your brain, thank you for today. Now rest. We'll try again tomorrow. That one simple message, that permission to rest, is sometimes the most powerful medicine of all. If you've ever felt discouraged by forgetfulness, if you've ever wondered whether your sharpness is fading, I hope you take this to heart. You are still capable. You are still growing. And your mind can still feel strong, focused, and vibrant, especially when you treat it with the care it deserves. If you found this video helpful, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear if you try one of these habits tonight, or even if it simply helped you feel more hopeful. Click like if it made a difference. Subscribe if you want more conversations like this, designed to help you feel clear, confident, and cared for at any age. You're not alone in this. We're learning together. We're growing together. And with each small step, we're giving our minds the love they've been quietly asking for. Here's to restful nights, sharper mornings, and a mind that feels truly at peace. Sleep well tonight. You've earned it.